DarkFest setup, bike
and
setup.
I am actually super interested. You had a DarkFest specific bike for the event. What made it the DarkFest bike?
The fact that we painted it like a shark was kind of really cool. So yeah, we had Fat Creations do an amazing job on the shark paint job,
Rad.
which kind of made me ride better. Just the fact that I knew I had something
look good,
so
ride
cool.
good, mate. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't be crap because I'm riding a shark. I just have to be good. So that was really cool. But mainly, it's about making it as strong as possible, and not really. You don't really want it too lightweight.
No.
So like, whereas
Interesting.
dirt jump bikes, you're like, I want titanium this, I want titanium that. I run like heavy downhill tubes in mine, so like it's a rotational mass that's spinning it. For example, 50 miles an hour? Like I think it's roughly 50 mile an hour for the 110. And if it's really light, obviously it's going to be a bit more thrown around in the air. Whereas, yeah, you want it a bit more solid.
Yeah.
So like strong rims, double down tyres I had front and rear. Whereas before I had like when I was riding for Schwalbe, for example, I had a Rock Razor and I only had like an enduro side
casing.
That's it, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
It's alright, I got you.
And even with like 45 PSI, I was just like, felt like it was going to blow up at any time, and I felt like it was like hitting the ground.
So it's all about weight.
Yeah. And then shock wise, I had a 550 pound spring on the back. So not crazy
No,
heavy.
that isn't crazy, is it?
No, first year I went at a 700. And it was kind of like on the limit of being too heavy, and I kind of wanted to feel a bit more of like progression, feel what the bike's doing a little bit, rather than just being like
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to a 550 and I was actually on a different bike to when I ran a 700, and that was fine.
Right.
That was really nice. Try not to have too many flat landings or cases, because no matter how good you are, your body will break or the bike will break at DarkFest if you come up short or go long. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You will break yourself or the bike because it's such an impact. So you've got to be really calculated, and as well, don't take it for granted. Like, if you're not feeling up to it, if you're tired, or if you had a long day, or you just actually don't feel like riding that day, that's when you're
grown up.
Yeah, just like, I'm gonna chill, gonna go watch Netflix or something. I don't know. But it's just so hard to do when you're on the biggest jumps in the world and the best scenery with the best guys ever. We're like all such good friends.
Yeah.
You just want to have the best time ever, but if you're feeling shit, it's no point.
So you've turned up, you've got the bike that you're completely happy with, it's trick.
Yeah.
You've turned up, there's new changes to the course, you see the 110.
Yeah.
What did you think when you first saw that?
Like, put the bike away. Go home. No, I think really because the 90 was the biggest jump I've ever rode. Yeah. And then you're like, well, why is there a bigger one? Like, what's the point? And then it was more like, for me, like, the way my brain works, if I've seen someone do it and I can relate my skill to their skill, I haven't really got too much of a problem with it, because they've always taken the risk out of it. But the first person to hit that's when you're actually crazy. Like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
But the first person that hits that
I agree,
is 100% crazy. Because it's like, obviously there is a skill involved in testing the speed for the jumps, and as a pro rider, you would agree with this, normally 9 out of 10 places you go for the first time, you can judge your speed to get it right into the landing, can't you? Like, very rarely would you go 50-50 into the back, or 10 foot longer.
It'd have to be built so crazy as well, wouldn't
which
it?
is a good conversation to talk about stuff as well, how bad some stuff's built these days.
Yes.
Not saying any places, but just, whereas that, it goes to such another realm of love of stuff. How on earth can you judge it?
Yeah.
And I think Tom just said, because Tom was the first one to do it, I think he just said he gave it everything he had.
So terrifying.
Did he go deep first run?
Don't remember.
I don't know, but I remember Sandy talking
it was kind of
about...
perfect, I think.
He was playing with... that was the flip he was talking about, though. He was playing with that.
Yeah, he was trying to get longer and longer every time.
With it,
because he's like, I want to beat Zinc even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just even straight jumping it for the first time, Tom was absolutely mental for that. Like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think I would.
You sit back and let someone else...
Maybe if there's the biggest check you've ever seen, like, waiting there once you've done it.
Do you think there's something in that, like, with Tom obviously showing up, no bike sponsor, and it's something we might have discussed as well, of like, have you got to put your balls on the line a little bit more in order for people to take you serious? Obviously, you've rocked up, you've got your bike sponsors, everything's, I mean... Not saying there's nothing to prove, but
of course, yeah. I mean, Tom's a fantastic rider anyway, but 100%, if you don't have a bike sponsor, you've got a point to prove, because you want a bike sponsor. Yeah. Like, no matter what anyone says, no one... You want a bike sponsor. There's few people without them this year, and And some might say they've done it on purpose or they're doing it, whatever. That's not true. Everybody would want support from a company.
Yeah.
And
it's like
Tom
the most staple thing for your job, right?
Tom deserved that for years.
Yeah.
But he just was a bit unlucky.
It's not like he's not been around either.
No.
So it's like I can completely see it as a motivator, but I actually think with him, I think it wasn't. I think he wanted to hit the hit the big jump.
Yeah, but
first.
he's like that anyway.
And if that's in you anyway,
yeah.
bike sponsor or not, like you're going to want to.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, like I always see myself as super calculated and like calm in a way. Like I wouldn't be a guy to like want to double flip a jump or anything like that. Whereas Tom is probably the opposite to me.
Is
not
that
saying
guy.
he's not calculated, but he would like, yeah, I'll double flip that. I'm like, what are you on about?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And he's like, oh, it's just fun, isn't it? So there's so many different types of pro riders of how like some behave, how calculated. And me and Sam always said it's like it depends how long you might want to be in the industry for. Because if you're that loose, like there's some guys that were in the slopestyle that didn't really give a shit. Would send it if it was windy, if the sun was in your eyes, you know, if it was wet or your bike's half broken, or you've got a puncture and they'd still try and jump the next jump. We all know it's not going to happen. You know, you're probably not going to last that long.
Yeah,
it's hard as well, isn't it, to have that foresight when you're caught up in it and you're caught in all of the noise to be able to like you know, it's impressive, man, to have that personality trait where you can just slow things down. It's like, no, don't get caught up in the hype, don't get caught up in the big flips, just
I mean, also
you're here for a long time.
You probably got caught up in the hype at Penshurst, which is really good because you got caught up in the hype at Penshurst all those years ago for however many years in order to not get caught up
further down the line
at DarkFest.
And it also depends like on your personality.
Yeah,
some people are just a bit more crazy than others, aren't they?
Yeah, true enough.
Definitely.
And,
definitely. Bragging rights, egos are on, not egos, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of on the line a little bit, stuff like that, isn't it? Everyone wants to get the biggest, gnarliest clip.
Yeah.
It's what we're in the business of doing.
So Tom's hit it. Were you there? You see it?
Yeah, I saw it, and from the minute it worked, I was like all in. I wanted it.
Sick. That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. You literally watched it, and you're like, oh,
yeah. It's just waiting for the right time. Well, excited, nervous, all of the above. Like, I've got nothing to prove. I don't need to hit that jump, but if it works, I'm going to hit it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I believe I'm good enough to do it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like it's just cool. Like it's like one of the biggest jumps in the world. It looked like it worked perfect. You actually got way more airtime than the 90 as well. So the way I describe it is like the 90 you kind of felt like you're floating through it, whereas 110 it was just like bang, and it was just like totally different. But
can you relate that feeling to anything else in life?
No.
That's one on its own.
No, and like first time I hit it, I like cased the step down into it, which is like 55 foot. So like went a little bit slow, cased it like a minute amount, and I was at that point I was so committed. I was just like, oh, F it, I'm going anyway. So I was just like talking about pumping. I was just like,
huge,
and then massive pop on the lip. And there's like a video of me like, I think it's Cade was first, Teo was second, and I was third, and they like both like cruise through it, and I'm just like. Just like, you know, like just so high, and then just creased it into landing perfect, and I was like, all right, cool, wow, that was insane. And then didn't break for the Twisty Wizard, so that was a big difference. The 90 didn't have to break. On the 110 you had to really break into the Twisty Wizard, so I had a bit of a brain fart because I was so hyped, obviously. Didn't break into the Twisty Wizard and like missed the cameraman that was there by like that much, just like, at probably like 45 mile an hour, just like,
wow.
So it was a pull. First lap was a pull, and then what? Because it really strikes me, the amount of time is like, even on jumps that I've done, the biggest jumps I've done, which are nowhere near that.
Yeah,
I feel that like sort of awkwardness in the air, not awkwardness, but just like the amount of time is bizarre. It's not like a dirt jump where you're unweighted and it will make sense. Like it's kind of not really up and down either. You know, like a sharp dirt jump, you're like boom, boom. It's kind of just like you're just going and it gets to a point where you just drop the bike in and then you're travelling down again. It is weird. Can you see and feel it straight away, or is there less of that on a jump that size?
You can see the back of the landing for a long time. So if it was wrong, you'd be seeing that crash for so long because you were like floating towards it. But then I think for me, every time I rode it after that, I still gave it pretty much everything I had, because I'd much rather go slightly long than slightly short. Because the impact on going short on that, you're just going to get bucked to death.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type The Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!